With used prices on the Jaguar F Type at an all-time low, is now the time to pick yourself up a bargain. With higher mileage, slightly older examples fetching £24,000 to £28,000, it does beg the question, is now the time to pick yourself up a lot of car for the money? So with used examples seeming to hit the bottom of their price curve, fetching prices similar to the higher end Jaguar XKs, in this video we're going to take a look at exactly why I think the Jaguar F Type is the bargain high performance sports car of this decade. And as always guys, if you're not already, please think about dropping a sub to the channel by hitting that subscribe button down below, and stay tuned. So as I said, with the prices of these seeming to be fairly near the bottom of their price curve, is now the time to buy a Jaguar F Type, and what actually makes them so good? Let me explain. Now call me slightly biased, because it doesn't take a genius to see I do own one of these and I am in love with this car. The looks, the soundtrack, the performance, I think it's got it all. And for me, trying to really pick what I think goes top of that list was a real struggle. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put two things at the top of that list. The looks and the sound of this car are just, in my opinion, unrivaled in this price range, if not arguably until you get to supercar territory. So because I'm indecisive and I couldn't decide which of those needs to go at the top, enjoy this little montage of what I think showcases just how wonderful these cars are. That's just something else, isn't it? The looks, the sound, it's a heck of a lot of car for what you can scoop up realistically nowadays for sub 30 grand depending on the model. Speaking of models, let's dive into exactly what you can and can't spec on these cars. So let's dive into performance figures. This is the supercharged V8R all-wheel drive, as denoted by the wider bonnet vents. You can get it in rear wheel drive only. The bonnet vents are a bit closer together and a bit higher up the bonnet up there, but this is the all-wheel drive, and this will take you from 0 to 60 miles an hour in a staggering 3.9 seconds. Now you've got a number of options under the bonnet here. You can go all-wheel drive or rear wheel drive in most powertrain variants. You get the choice between a 2-litre 4-banger turbo, which was released later on from I think about 2018 onwards. You can get a 3-litre V6 that turns out 340 horsepower. You can get a 3-litre V6 that churns out 380 brake horsepower, and that's denoted by the S after the V6, so you get a V6S with 380. And then in this shape you can get a 550 brake horsepower in the R, or 575 brake horsepower in the SVR, the most potent of the model range. Now Jaguar facelifted this car, and this is where it's going to get a bit confusing. This is the facelift, but then they did a facelift. So they changed on the facelift, I need to find a different name for that. They did the different shape headlights, so this is just a slight refresh over the original shape that was introduced in 2018. But on the newer shape Jaguars, you could get the 2-litre, you could get a P400 and 400 brake horsepower, but you could also then get a P450, 5-litre V8 with 450 brake, the P550R, and then the 575 SVR, so a couple of different powertrain variants in there. And what about reliability? Well, yes, great question. It's not a particularly highly strung engine. The 5-litre has been around in the Jaguar world for a long time. This 5-litre engine is very akin to what they put in the XKs. So this engine has been on the market for a long time, and as such it's had a lot of its teething issues ironed out. As with any car, they do have their problems, and there's no way of knowing, you know, what they're going to be. There are some common issues. I've done 2 videos on those. I've done the common issues part 1 and part 2, but these are not bad cars. If you look after them and service them, as you should any car, these, I'm going to regret saying this, are quite reliable. Okay, Mr. GB, you're talking about servicing. How much does servicing cost? Good question. Shameless plug, this video is going to be full of them. Go check out my video on my recent service I had done on this car and why I go to a main dealer rather than an independent. Okay, good. We've covered servicing, but what about running costs? What is it like running a Jaguar F Type? Well, you've guessed it, another shameless plug. There's a video for that too, go check it out, where I talk about things such as tyres, fuel, maintenance, repairs, anything related to running a Jaguar F Type. It's all there, but they are pretty good. As with any premium brand car, there are the costs associated with running one of these, but in my opinion, it's very reasonable. It can be as big or as little as you want to make it. If you buy a well looked after example, chances are you're not going to be faced with too many surprise bills. Buy the cheapest one you can find, and maybe there'll be a couple of bits you need to fix, but they are no more or less reliable than the next car on the road. It's probably also a good time to say, as far as fuel economy goes, it's not as horrendous as you might think. And yes, you guessed it, there's a video for that too, go check that out if you're interested. That's a bit of a slow one, so I'm not expecting a big hit on that. But bearing in mind this is a 5-litre supercharged V8 churning out 550 brake horsepower, you can still quite comfortably get over 40 miles to the gallon on the motorway, which is shocking. And no, this isn't a motorway crawler, I didn't buy this to sit on motorways, but if you're getting between places, that's pretty good. If you're on country lanes and you put your foot down and you're having a really fun drive, yes, you can get that comfortably down into single digits. But it's no Prius. We didn't buy this for fuel economy. So we've spoken about running costs, we've spoken around reliability, we've spoken around economy and performance and engine packages. So we've established it's a quick car that doesn't come with supercar price tags for its servicing. So why exactly is this any better than, say for example, a Porsche in a similar category or an Audi? You know, why do I feel this sets itself apart from those cars? Just look at this interior, dripping with leather everywhere, stitched leather dashboard, you've got a heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, you've got an automatic ZF 8-speed gearbox that can be shifted via the paddles on the steering wheel or the slapstick there, things such as Apple CarPlay, memory seats, a lovely panoramic roof. This is bordering on Grand Tourer, bearing in mind it's only a 2-seater sports car with no rear seats. Whilst we're talking about seats, check out these gorgeous bucket seats available either in the R or SVR or as an option as the sports seat upgrade in the lower model variants. You get things such as an auto-dimming mirror, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, which this car doesn't have. I will be retrofitting that this year. And a usable boot. The boot on this car is a really good size. Check this out. Show me another 2-seater sports car, God, that you can, oh dear me, that you can do that in. A Porsche, you'd have the engine back here. You can comfortably go on holiday in this car. Maybe not with a body in the boot, I probably wouldn't recommend that. But your luggage, you know, that boot is such a good size. In fact, we did actually that. We did a 2-week holiday around the North Coast 500 of Scotland in this car, and it was fantastic. All of our luggage, we took our walking stuff, I had camera stuff, 2 weeks worth of luggage. We even brought back some presents, a lot of whiskey, unsurprisingly, from Scotland. And this car just took it all in its stride. I even got one of my favourite photos up on the North Coast, which is actually hung on the wall in my office of, for anyone who's seen Skyfall, James Bond, you'll recognise exactly that now. What a memory. With all those luxury features, I could be talking about a high-performance German saloon car, all of those luxury items in the interior, not a two-seater sports car that would keep up, arguably, with a lot of supercars. It would give them a run for their money. There's certainly not many things that you see every day on the road that would keep up with this. So we've established this is a very well spec'd, very fast, very good looking, very good sounding sports car. But why is now, in my opinion, the time to buy one of these? Jaguar have announced their plan to stop production of all internal combustion engines by 2025, moving to an all-electric model. And we're going to see the F Type either disappear in its entirety from the catalogue, or it will come out in a very different variant with an electric powertrain. With petrol prices as they have been over the last couple of years, and with high capacity, high emissions, fuel engined internal combustion engine cars being taxed more, it's only going to get harder and harder and more expensive to run one of these. So I see this as a bit of a last hurrah. For me, it's such a privilege to own something like this. It's a gorgeous car, it's got absolutely breathtaking performance. Off the line, this thing just pushes you back into the seat like nothing I've ever driven before. Sure, there's faster cars out there. Sure, there's probably cheaper cars out there that could go just as fast with a bit of modification. But look at it, it's gorgeous. Now it's anyone's guess what's going to happen with the prices of these over the coming years. Will they go up in price as Jaguar stop producing the internal combustion engine in their cars? Will they continue down a little bit on their price curve before they hit the bottom and start coming back up the other side and appreciate? Who knows? I think you need a crystal ball to answer that. But certainly in my opinion, there's no time like the present to get out and enjoy yourself. It's all about smiles per gallon, and this car delivers. So, should you buy a used Jaguar F Type? Only you can answer that question, but hopefully I've helped you along the way in understanding a bit more about what's special with this car. I certainly did. I bought this used and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've got so many good memories that will stay with me for life in this car, and they just can't be replaced. But as always guys, thanks for tuning in. I really do appreciate the support that this channel gets, so if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button down the bottom, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. So in this video, we're going to take a look at I've got my outtake. I was wondering what I was going to put at the back of the video. I've got my outtake. Don't fall into the front of your car when it's that scared the bejeebus out of me. God. Right. So we've used examples.